And hello, and welcome to the May Contain Action podcast. This episode is presented by G Fuel. Do you have the G Fuel inside? Perfect. Nailed it that time. Use code MCA at checkout on www.gfuel.com for a discount on your next order. I am Paul, aka Action Jackson, and I am joined as always by my co-host, the one and only future Hall of Famer. I am Trevor May, also known as Trevor May.
That's me. Future Hall of Famer. You know how much money you make after you're done playing if you're in the Hall of Fame? So much. Too bad.
They give you more money?
Oh, yeah.
You get in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah.
Who's they?
The baseball leaders.
Okay, well, that's clearly fake news. That isn't. That's not
MLB. You just have lots of opportunities. Anyway, neither here nor there.
Didn't realize
Neither
that.
here
All right.
nor there. Introduce our guest. Let's go.
Neither. Shut up, Trevor. I know how to do a podcast. Damn, it's like episode 97. Today's guest has probably taught you everything you need to know about streaming on YouTube and Twitch. The face of the Alpha Gaming channel on YouTube, the owner of one of the largest libraries of stream-safe music called Stream Beats, the owner of Senpai Records, a former Vine star with his partner Kenzie, but above all, a soon-to-be father. Harris Heller is here.
Hey!
Woo!
Oh, you forgot future Twitch Hall of Famer, by the way.
Future Twitch Hall
Where
of
they
Famer.
pay you more money
They do.
once
they
you've been in
you,
the Twitch Hall of Fame.
yeah, the Twitch leaders, they give you more money.
Yeah,
Yes.
you get more money with your Twitch pension, guys. If you stream for 10
Yes.
years, you get
the Twitch
Yeah.
leaders. Yes,
You
that's
get-
what gives it.
You get tenure.
$1,000 a month for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you get tenure. You can't lose your sub button, and it's just smooth sailing from now on out.
You can't
actually.
lose your sub button.
Yeah.
And there is no longer
I don't have a
TOS.
sub button anymore. So kind of ironic. It's gone.
They snatched that shit. If you had
Yeah.
been there for 10 years, they would have kept it, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate. Well, Hellas, yes. Harris Heller, thank you for being with us today. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it, especially with the
Thanks for
busy
having me
schedule. That scheduling was wild.
Dude, when you're a future father, it gets that way.
Yeah.
Yes, I can imagine on the cusp of fatherhood.
Can I actually can I tell you some news? Like, can you be the first people to know this?
We really actually hate that. So if you could not do that,
All right,
that'd
we'll
be
move
great.
on
No, I'm
then.
just kidding.
We
Yes, of course.
just came in this morning from a meeting and she's like, "Hey, I think I need to be induced a week early."
What?
So I might be a dad in 7 days.
Oh,
Just found out like 30 minutes ago.
oh
So
gosh,
that's fun.
that is super fun.
My wife
Yeah.
was asking me about, like, what do you have tomorrow morning? I'm like, well, we're doing, we're squeezing in the Harris Heller episode tomorrow morning. You know, he's having a baby. And I go, and you know what happens once he has a baby? He's gone. We're not going to be able to. It's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Oh,
It's gonna
never
happen.
again.
So we
Oh,
gotta
dude,
do it right now.
I've got 5
Yeah.
employees, and like I've talked about like paternal leave and what that looks like. 2
Yeah.
months, whatever. What do I'm going to be working the moment I get back from the hospital. Like it's just it
Yeah.
is what it is. There's not. I don't have a lot of options.
Absolutely. Yeah. While I greatly value paternal leave, I used to work for Apple, and they were amazing about that. They would like force you to go.
Hold
They
on,
would
what'd you do
almost
for- what'd
not
do?
let you
I used
stay.
to work for Apple. What'd you do for Apple?
Oh, sick. Yeah, I was a what was the highest I got? Technical expert was the highest
Like
I got.
in the store or like corporate?
Store level.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't have any corporate
I was
in
on the
upstate.
sales side, but I worked a little bit at the Genius Bar. I
Oh,
never
cool.
went full time. Yeah, I was still a student at the time. It was a fun job. That was a fun job.
Yeah. That
PM
job
works
was
for Apple's too.
what?
PM has Apple experience also.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to cut this out legally because I have to, but I do work for Apple. I work on so there you go.
Currently?
Yes, currently I do.
So
I
I
I'm
literally
never
currently
currently.
doing that right now. Too,
Right now.
so-
Trevor, the Apple technical people are talking. You go back to your corner.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Please. Please, Trevor.
gladly. You guys
Do you
have
even know?
have a blast.
This guy,
Steps
this
of
guy
service.
thinks,
Check my
Trevor
iPhone.
think he
Wait.
thinks he can join in this Apple conversation. I don't know what's happening over here.
Please. Foolish.
What a fool.
Oh my gosh. I was actually just talking to my wife about that recently as like a semi sidetrack of like how Apple actually legitimately, I mean, as much as it was a job and like I was there for a paycheck and everything like that, but actually legitimately helped me grow as a person.
Same.
Like just their
Yeah, no,
their
not me.
methods.
Sorry.
Their maybe in retail it's different because you're forced to interact with like a customer on a daily basis, and so you kind of understand people more.
When you have that name tag or like the Apple on your shirt, people come in and they think you know everything.
Everything.
And you have to learn to live up to that expectation.
Yes.
And you
exactly.
do. You learn to be like, to embody that, to embrace it. Like I learned so much confidence working there. It was crazy.
Yeah. It's wild how much it influenced my marriage as well. Of like when even something as simple as like my wife would be like, so like, do you know like how to do this or whatever? And like my pride would have been like, of course I know how to do that.
And then you're
no
like,
idea.
Let's find out together.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, well, what? Who does know this? Let me go.
Let's
go talk to them.
into Safari and we'll find out.
It's so true. Or like assuming positive intent. I mean, that was a huge
oh
one.
my gosh,
Dude,
you are unlocking parts of my brains. How did you position it? How did you position it, Paul?
Oh my God. How did God. Oh, that was, I hated that so much. I've been like an unruly customer. Well, how did you position
every single Apple employee is listening to this right now being pulled out of their trance, or like we're telling them the keywords. They're like, okay, where do you want me to go, sir?
Oh my God,
I will do what you say. It's like the Marvel movies with the Winter Soldier when like you say the right words and like he's now obedient. That's every Apple employee right now. We're saying all the words they learned in training.
Rusted, love, monitor, camera. Oh God, coming back. Anyway, so Trevor, you can come back.
Hi guys, what's up?
Hey, welcome back.
Thanks for coming on Twitter. So I'm back.
No, that's awesome. I had no idea you worked for Apple. That's super cool. You can always kind of tell a little bit when someone works for Apple. They're just really patient. Which
I would say
good
it's
being a
definitely
dad,
helped me with teaching on the internet, like on the YouTube channel.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's perfect. That's the perfect job to have for teaching things step by step. Damn, I'm starting doing top fives. Speaking of top fives as well, again, congratulations on becoming a father very soon, apparently in a week.
Thank you.
We also just recently had FemSteph on the pod as well. She's a relatively new mom with her partner Gold Glove. And we kind of talked about like how to balance being content creator, parent, especially when both people in the relationship, in her case, are content creators. So in the true Harris Heller form, we want to know, what are your top 5 things that you need to know to be a content creator and a father?
Well,
even before you've done it.
Well,
it's like you're in the alpha of being a dad right now. You're closed alpha. We want
to know. Know thyself.
Or I guess, what do you anticipate? Like, what do you expect coming up with it being so close?
So are we mixing this? Are these 5 things total between those 2 things, or 5 things? I'm just going to list off 5 things.
You don't have to give me 5 things.
Whatever your process is.
This one's for being a dad. This one's for being a content creator.
Yeah.
But I would say the biggest personal growth that I had was learning my strengths and my own weaknesses, and really finding the outside perspective of myself. Like if you understand who you are and you can see yourself from the mindset, from the perspective of someone else watching you, whether that be a viewer or whether that be your spouse or assuming my child coming up, I feel like you make very different decisions.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that's bless you, Trevor. I saw that.
Dang it. I even muted and remembered this time.
That is the hardest thing about being a content creator is most people don't see themselves from the perspective of the viewer. And so when you're creating a title and you're creating a thumbnail, you're not trying to figure out, okay, what title describes my video the best. You're trying to figure out what title is going to get someone who has no idea who I am, what's going to get them to click on my video. Yeah. When they're not subscribed, they've never heard of me before. How do you do that? And you have to put yourself in the mind of that person. And that, I think that applies. That's probably my biggest self-awareness is, I think, one of the greatest tools to anything you're doing in life, especially when you're on a team with something. So like in marriage in general, as Kenzie and I have been to sessions and sessions of counseling. We've gone through great times and bad times. And anytime things get rocky, like, okay, how do we fix this? How do we go and speak to a professional about what's going on here? And there's this stigma. I think the stigma is going away, but there's a stigma around counseling in general.
Sure.
That needs to go away. Because it's not like we were on the verge of divorce or anything. We're just in a rocky time and we couldn't figure it out ourselves. And it made a world of a difference for us. And so understanding your strengths and your weaknesses and how other people perceive you, whether it be a stranger, whether it be your spouse or your partner, is huge. That's my number one, and also the other 4.
Yeah, no, I think we had 4. I think we can confirm 4 in there. That's actually a super interesting point of view. Like, I don't often think of that, and I think it's natural to not, but to think about how the viewer is going to see this. Like, what did they want to see versus what do you want to portray?
Pride to do it, because you get so sucked up in your own passions and how you see yourself and what you want to do. And sometimes it's like, okay, well, this is a really cool idea, but is everyone else going to think it's a cool idea? And you want to go, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I want to do this thing. And you have to sit back and go, nobody's going to watch it. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to make this a career, people have to watch it.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work.
Was that a conclusion you came up with on your own, or was it something that your wife helped? Because just coming from my direction, and Paul can attribute to this too, can speak on this. My wife actually came on. She actually left her job in March when I started the season this year, and has come on because she was project managing with Starbucks corporates. She has lots of experience. She was going up really fast. And we realized really quickly that I'm what you just said. I'm the guy with like the idea. I have tons of ideas, brainstorm like crazy. I love it. And I know what it's going to look like at the end. It's all that stuff in the middle that I tend to
the middle
skip
stuff is the hard part.
And
the sandwich.
she has become what you just said. She has become that check for me. And I realized I'm like, that's just not a skill I'm great at. And everything that I've done, because I'm very similar to you, I have lots and lots of projects, but it sounds like you've executed them a little bit better, because you're asking a question like, yeah, that sounds great in theory. Let's put it through the filter here and see.
I had to learn it through some pretty dramatic failure. Because you mentioned we were Vine stars. I'm used to doing this when I talk myself up, because one time I was on a train back in our Vine days. I was on like the Utah train that goes from Salt Lake to Provo. And there were some kids who recognized me like in our Vine heyday. And one kid told me I was famous, and I didn't, with the quotes. For those of you listening to audio, I'm doing air quotes. And I laughed. Like, I wasn't offended. I didn't know what it meant. Like, what is famous? And so that's what I am. That's what I've always called it. Like, no matter how many viewers I have, whether I'm at the peak or I'm in a slump, like I'm quote unquote famous.
Exactly.
But yeah, during we had like a 2-year music career together, where she was actually the creator. Everything was done under Kenzie Nimmo. In fact, for about 5 years, if you Googled Harris Heller, the only response Google would give you is Kenzie Nimmo's husband. And that's awesome. And that was fine. Like, it was on her YouTube channel, her Instagram, her Vine. Yeah. And I did all the music production. I did all the video production and the editing. And I was kind of her production guy on the background, which is how I learned everything. But we made a lot of very big mistakes. We had a massive career. We were literally the fastest growing Viners for like 2 months straight. Wow. And then there was a website that would tell you who was growing the fastest. And we check it like every day. Like, yeah, we're still number one. Number one. And then 2 years later, everyone had dropped us. We didn't have any management. We didn't have an agency. And we weren't making any money anymore. And I had to go out and find another job. And I did. I ended up creating content, doing what I learned there for other people. And just along the hardship, I mean, we went from being on top of the world to being like $20,000 in debt. Like, it was a really rough roller coaster for us. And I learned a lot from that. And so now I go on the internet and like, hey, here's what I learned, so you don't have to do what I did. And a big one of that was self-awareness and recognizing when ideas sound good to you versus when they're actually going to succeed.
Oh, wow.
So much to unpack.
I know. I can just see Trevor's like,
I'm very animated. I can't keep it in.
Go on.
Loves it. Go on more. No, and that working that out between two people that already have like such success and then having it taken away overnight.
It was rough.
And like how long were you together, or like were you married at this time when you guys were doing Vine?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we met doing music. I started like an online record label where I was like, hey, I'm going to find people. We're going to make YouTube videos and covers, and then I'm going to produce your album. And Kenzie was actually my first client. And then we ended up getting married.
Wow.
But I worked at Apple when we got married. This was 8 years ago. And then about 6 months later, almost a year later, we had a Vine go totally viral. and that started our entire. I mean, it was the second most watched Vine on the app. It's why I'm doing social media today is because of that Vine.
Dang.
And so we had been married almost a year when our social media careers started.
Got it. Okay, so you're married, and then the floor drops out, and then you have to kind of figure out how to manage all this.
Yeah,
use that experience to do something else, right? Silver lining, right?
Yeah.
I think we preach this. I think Paul in our private conversation, like, and when we're talking about things about this, for example, this podcast, it's funny that you mentioned, you gotta think from the be in the person's brain that you're trying to, someone who's never seen your stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, this is something that since Kate has come, that's my wife's name, Kate, has come on, she basically said, hey, let's look at changing up format of this pod that we're listening to right now, changing format, and then start to figure out like what people who listen, why do they like the show? Because you guys are kind of just doing it. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we should have been doing this kind of the retroactively looking at, what's working, what's not a little bit.
But no one
more.
has her personality to do that. Like, that's why.
Well, like and not only that, she's like, that is her thing. Like, it's just what she's been doing and she loves it. She loves that as a new project. And we came to the realization that basically people who already follow us listen religiously almost like every episode. And then our discoverability, not great. So, and this literally has happened in the last week. It's crazy that you brought that up because we are making that adjustment right now, just kind of trying to give those people, the thing that they like to listen to, right? The people who already listen and consume your content, you want them to get what they came there for, but you also want to start expanding what that, that circle of that sphere of things that about so that you can start to capture a few more people, but you also have to make better decisions about, like you said, titles, thumbnails, and actual content and how easy it is to digest.
It's
that's
two
all
completely different strategies. Keeping your current audience engaged and finding a new audience. You basically need two different people to do that. It's two different jobs.
Yeah.
One of them is creating content that's just fun to watch and keeps the people there. And the other one is like, okay, titles and thumbnails. You title it
where you put
something
it
completely different for the new audience. And then also, okay, well, can we also put it in YouTube Shorts? Can we also create TikToks and Instagram and like all these different? How do we reach these new people on more discoverable platforms? It's multiple full-time jobs,
but it's so fun.
Like
it is. Well, it's fun,
figure out how it works
when you do it right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you don't, it eventually gets not fun.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You make a very good point.
I didn't think of it like that, of being in two different jobs, but now that I'm reflecting on even the people that I follow or subscribe to on YouTube, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them will have thumbnails and titles, especially like the inner thumbnail title that has like it doesn't draw me in, but I'm already subscribed. Like I'm already on board.
You're going to watch anyway.
I'm going to watch anyway, which is super interesting because like I see the title. I'm like, I mean, it seems a little, I don't know. I don't know what the word is because it's not clickbaity, but it just seems very
enticing.
Yeah, like overly enticing. Like, bro, like I'm here. Like, let's take it easy. Like, you don't need so many exclamation points and everything. Like, I'm gonna watch, but it's not for me.
Yeah,
not for you.
It's for the new person.
Yeah, I think subscribers need to be a little bit more understanding for stuff like that. Like you need to understand there are two audiences. Like I saw someone on social media get upset. Like I hate when people say hit the like button in the first 15 seconds of a video. Like let me watch the video before you say that. But like you don't understand, like for a YouTuber, that actually gets their core audience to hit the like button.
Yeah,
and so that's why you saw it, because the core audience hit the like button. It got pushed to your discoverability feed. And so I know it's annoying to you because you've only seen 15 seconds of this guy, but you wouldn't be watching the video if he didn't say that in the first 15 seconds. Like people need to be more understanding of content creators because there is a nuance there.
There is. Absolutely. I actually didn't fully think about that, but that makes sense. I could see how a viewer wouldn't.
All I do is think about this, man. I need to take a break from thinking about this. My brain is tired.
Okay, so your brain's tired, so let's get deeper into it. I would love to because, I'm so like I mentioned earlier, and I don't know if you know much about it, but like, I'm trying to do the double YouTube channel thing. I'm crushing 2 YouTube channels, live streaming, the podcast. We're getting podcast network kind of growing
Building
a little
empire.
bit too. Building an empire, right?
Yeah.
Outside of baseball, which is a whole other thing.
There's another, that's like a full-time job, right? Or is that a hobby?
Yeah, sometimes. In the summer, I can sleep sometimes. It's
You have
good.
grandma ever asking you like, "Hey, do you still play that baseball? Do you make any money doing that?"
No, she is well aware. It's all on the internet. We're going to talk about that a little bit too, because I have a unique.
Everyone thinks it's a game until you bring home your first paycheck.
Everyone thinks it's a game, yeah, until you get paid for it.
Yeah.
But I would like to touch on all the things you have going. You have a label, a music label. You have your Stream Safe music service, which has like 5,000 songs now total. You have a gaming / streaming YouTube channel and a Harris Heller branded channel as well. I mean, I know that some of that stuff overlaps, but where you cover all kinds of tips, tricks, and cool videos. I mean, the number of things I tried to actually like bucket it, like be like, okay, here's what the type of content you have, but you do so many things that I'm just going to say it's stuff that you like. We'll go with that.
It is. I've managed to turn every hobby I have into a job, which is cool. It also means I no longer have any hobbies, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's our grinder culture, right? So so I guess where you're crushing them. You seem to have a pretty good. Every time you come out with something new, I kind of like looked at it chronologically, the things that you've come out with, and it's getting like more and more polished every time, obviously, as you're learning. But like you just said, you've turned all of your hobbies into jobs, and I know that sounds.
It's accurate.
It's accurate. It's not necessarily the most fun thing to say because I'm doing the same thing. In the off season, I go and have a full-time job, and I have to like find ways to not make it a full-time job because I'm exhausted the other time I'm doing the other
You
job.
ever hear that phrase where it's like, do what you love, you never work a day in your life?
Yeah.
Not true.
Garbage.
Yeah,
That's
no.
absolutely trash.
Absolute
false.
garbage.
Yeah.
The only people who say that are people who don't do what they love.
Exactly.
And they look at people who are like streaming or playing baseball and they're like, oh, this guy just has fun.
You're
I bet
living
he
it.
doesn't work a day
living.
in his life.
He's
I
just
can
fun
vouch
for a
for that.
living.
Yeah,
No,
I
he's
can vouch for
not.
that.
It's all worth it. It's
Yeah,
all
vouch.
Oh, it's
us
all worth
yelling
it.
at you. Yeah, it's fine. You make lots of money. You're like, it's just the same, guys. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's
I
it still makes you
worked
mad.
like 15 hours yesterday, man. I'm always tired.
You haven't
I don't
worked a
even
day
have
in your
kid yet.
life,
I'm always
Gareth.
tired. And this is not a complaint, by the way. I chose
You're gonna
this,
keep doing it,
and
yeah.
I love this. I do
Yeah.
it because I love it, but it's hard work, man.
Okay, so I guess that kind of leads me into like, why? Like, why did you? What was your motivation between going from like you mentioned earlier, like you had to find something to do, but after you've had a couple things go well, but you keep on starting something new that you're interested in. So, what's the motivation behind it? Like, why do you keep pursuing these things and turning them into something?
I love building, like on a physical sense, and on like in a non, I don't know what you call it. What would you call it? Like building businesses where you can't touch it and hold. It's not material sense.
Not
like
tangible. Yeah.
In an intangible sense.
Mhm.
I do think, and I don't want to get like religious, or that's not what I'm trying to do here, but I think everyone was born with an innate desire to create. I think that's why people have kids. Because I mean, why would you want to have kids? It's just like, it's like, here's a baby, figure it out. Like, I'm terrified, but we do it anyway because we have this innate desire to create, born into us, whether it's DNA or supernal or whatever. And I think just some people's are stronger than others. Some people like their hobbies. Some people can't sit still without thinking about what can I build next. Like growing up, I loved Legos. And
Should we correct him? Should we
Yeah.
correct him?
Oh.
You're building with Lego.
I loved Lego bricks.
There's a proper
Whatever.
way to say
Lego was a brand.
got-
I understand.
man was
I
on a
knew-
roll.
The moment you stopped me, I knew where I've never even heard that before. I knew where you were going with that.
We had an episode two episodes ago with Brick and Nick.
I love
who
Lego
built
bricks.
with Lego,
I'm-
and he corrected us immediately. So now we have to do it forever.
Nope, I love Legos, and I also call it a GIF. So
All right,
you
well,
can fight me.
This has been a fun pod.
It's the building process that I love. I love being able to look back and being like, hey, a year ago I had this idea and look what it is now. Like nothing brings me more satisfaction than that. And so when I have an idea that I feel like is a really good idea, I have a really hard time letting it go because I can see the potential and it's against every natural fiber of my being to let it sit and not build it.
Yeah.
I've got like three other little things chilling on the back burner that like luckily I've grown so much that I've hired a business manager. I'm like, hey, find a developer for me to do this. And we're in the middle of that for like 2 projects.
That's really cool.
Like, come back to me when you find a developer that can do this project.
Oh,
Hey, so
And
you
so
delegate.
as you grow,
Delegate.
building becomes a little bit easier because you've got a larger infrastructure,
Mhm.
but it doesn't, it's still more work. And I've got to work on getting things. That's my biggest weakness is like, I have to get the things I have going right now running on their own before I
stop
start
adding
on the next thing.
plates. Stop adding plates to the spinning plate
yeah,
in Azure.
yeah.
Do you find it hard to delegate?
Yes.
It's you want a
skill I'm
video
learning
edited
right
and you're like, you have an editor working on it. You're like, I can't wait. I'm going to do it myself. Like that kind of thing.
It's been a learning. That's been the latest learning experience for me is learning to be a business owner and having employees. Like I just hired 2 more full-time employees in the last couple months. And so I've got 5 full-time employees now. And like, I was always the one who's like, just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I've got all
Yeah.
these ideas, but I don't want to make decisions because if I say the wrong thing, it's my fault. I didn't want to be that guy. And now I have to be like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this. And also it's just a different dynamic of making sure you are respecting other people while also keeping their respect. And it's a fine line to cross, it's a fine line to walk. I mean, it's a tightrope. So it's fun though. It's a fun learning experience.
Do you feel like those things are contingent upon each other, like respecting other people, getting respect? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. It's a 2-way street.
Yeah.
I think you're the people who you are delegating to. Are you delegating people or are you delegating tasks to other people?
To them. You're
Yes.
delegating.
The people you are delegating tasks to,
yes.
they have to feel like you respect them. Otherwise you cannot demand respect. That's not how respect works.
Damn it. All my employees keep leaving.
Sorry, man.
You don't have any employees yet
Anymore.
I mean, yeah, anymore. Keep leaving.
anymore. I hear, and I went and watched one of your recent, actually probably, I think it's your most recent YouTube short. And you were talking about, this is very relevant to what you're talking about. You actually, Gary V dropped, which I love Gary. He's a huge, I don't know.
Gary.
He's a guy that I helps motivate me. But again, it's probably a big reason why I'm always like, I have an idea. I'm just going to do it right now. And he's so grinder centric. But what you said was, you're like, like the way that the owner is, if you expect a lot of yourself and you're constantly grinding, working from wake up to go to sleep, that is not what you need to do as an employee of a person that is like that. So it's like, and I think Gary touches on that a little bit too. He says, just because you are incredibly ambitious and have all these ideas and are passionate doesn't mean the people working under you are going to be just as passionate as you about everything that you say.
No, they
You
have
didn't
no
create a
skin
bunch
in
of
the
clones
game.
of yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're like when my employees work for me, they're like, if the business grows, they don't get a piece of it. They don't own this business. They get a paycheck and they get the same paycheck regardless of whether they work long hours or short hours. So why would I force them to work long hours?
Yeah.
When they're for me to gain monetarily. So if there's any extra work, it's on me. I have to do it.
Oh, great. So are you hiring, I guess, is where we're
Yeah. It's where
we're at now. I think that's the only thing we need to know.
You looking for a job for Paul because he lost all his employees?
Yeah. What are your benefits packages look like?
It's the medical life. You have a
Kenji
business
makes hot
plan.
chocolate for everyone in the mornings, which is pretty dope.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can fix all my cavities with hot chocolate. That sounds
Oh
delicious.
no.
Are any of them like in office, or is everyone remote, or do you have like in office people?
They're all in Utah except for my very first original editor, Sam, who lives in the UK, who is moving here in 2 weeks.
Oh,
To
hey.
Utah?
Uh-huh.
UK to Utah.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been trying to get him here for
That's
like
a
a
vlog.
year now, but because of COVID, we couldn't.
Yeah.
And it's lifting on the 8th. People from the UK
Oh,
UK citizens can finally
wow.
travel here. We got a waiver form. We're working on a visa. We're getting him here. We've been trying to get him here for so long.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, we got
Congratulations,
a
Sam. That's
headquarters
great.
being built downstairs right now. The workers are down there mudding up the walls. They just finished drywalling, and he's gonna have a space, dude. I'm so pumped. We're gonna have everyone in the same space with masks and 6 feet apart, of course.
That's
Obviously,
awesome.
yeah, gotta say
That's fantastic.
I had to catch myself there, like, this is
Yeah.
going on the internet. I
We're
gotta
gonna
say
have
something.
everyone super close on top of each other. Everyone's gonna lick doorknobs. It's gonna be great. We're really excited about it.
I'm really glad you said doorknobs. I was wondering where that was going.
Yeah, I can't wait for our lunchtime patty cake sessions. It's gonna be a lot of fun. As many touch points as humanly possible.
That's incredible. And he was like, of all the states, Utah. You know what I mean?
Have
like
you
he
ever
was
been to
like,
Utah?
have I ever been to Utah?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I'm not.
Utah is the best state.
The best state?
Utah is the best state.
I mean,
I'm not from Utah, by the way. I'm born in California, grew up in Nevada, moved here for school.
oh wow. Okay.
And until recently, it was dirt cheap. And like, I feel terrible. This is going to be such a bad idea saying this on the internet. Like, we used to just forget to lock our door and like leave for the weekend for like 5 days straight. Oh well. We live in Provo, Utah. Nothing's gonna happen. Nothing ever happens.
Nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing ever happens. We have a lock that locks itself after 7 minutes now, so I can say that on the internet without somebody like, okay, where's he at? I know he's got all this expensive gear.
I got 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Where nothing ever
like
happens.
An Ocean's 11 type break-in.
Everybody's so nice.
I'm pretty sure this is like the opening scene of Fargo, so you should,
Yeah. No, but you go.
Careful what you wish for.
You go west, and you got this weird sea of salt, like that Davy Jones locker scene from what's Pirates of the Caribbean, where it's all white.
Yeah.
That was shot like 30 minutes that way. And then you go south, you got like Red Rock canyons that you can hike, and you go east and you got skiing. Like literally, it's the greatest. Nothing's north. Don't go north. But like the other three directions, like anything you want, it's awesome. Dude, I love Utah. I don't even go outside. I don't know what I'm talking about outside. It's great.
You talked a lot about
and we have
outside.
Google Fiber. And we have Google Fiber.
Yeah.
You have fiber. Okay. All right. That's pretty good. All right.
Pretty much
so
everything
indoor.
you just said is where, I'm out in Seattle.
Indoor and outdoor people alike. It's like Utah. It's the best place.
Well, I mean, I would say Seattle's the same, except it's probably way more expensive. Except for the cheap part, which is usually the hang up for most people.
Well, Utah's losing that part. Utah's exploding. So maybe it'll probably, Utah and Seattle will be synonymous pretty soon here.
Oh,
exactly.
Are they going to build Google campus right in the center of your city for 70 years? And so that there's traffic for, anyway,
I think
here nor there.
Actually.
No.
There is.
Google's looking for, if it's cheap, Google's going to be there. So
yeah.
Harris, I wanted to know, because we're kind of doing this here too. Right, like we have a similar kind of model, and I'm kind of balancing our own decision of like podcast network and streaming platform, and all these kind of, not streaming platform. That's not what we're doing at all. Music and all this kind of stuff. Why is it important to you? Because you have multiple things going on, obviously. Why is it better, at least in your mind, to have these multiple different things going on rather than one and pour all resources into that one thing?
Oh man, because that's what we did with our music career. That's all we had was that one, and the moment it crashed is the moment it was over.
Gotcha.
Like
it's a safety net type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like 3 or 4 main sources of revenue going on right now, and at any given moment, one is not doing well. But the other 3 are totally taking care of it. And so like, dude, it's gotcha. Created so much stability, especially if you have employees. Like nothing stresses me out and keeps me up at night more than like, can I make this decision? These 5 people quit their jobs to work for me. How can I make sure I can pay their paychecks?
That's actually
anything beyond that is just plus.
Yes.
But I need to make sure everything is stable so I can always pay paychecks. And it's dude, having a diversified income is just massive.
Especially in this business, right? Like,
oh yeah,
the internet's so fickle. Yeah, internet careers die just every day.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Why'd you look me in the eyes when you said that?
Yeah, why are you looking at me
I look
too?
At myself in the eyes.
You're looking right at. You're staring into my soul. I'm gonna go pray.
Yeah, they do. 7 minutes before it locks.
Yeah.
And all the time. Well, no, because I'm asking too, because I feel like we are trying to do that. We're trying to diversify. At what point did you decide that the spinning plate, as we were kind of discussing earlier, is stable enough to move on? Or did you just like, this thing's crazy, I haven't really stabilized this yet, let me start this new project? Let me start this other project.
Nothing has ever felt totally stable. Every plate still needs to be balanced. For me, it was here's an opportunity that I know I can do now. And so do I have the available time? Can I do it? And will it work? Those are the only two questions I have to ask, because at the end, like I still like the Alpha Gaming channel was the first thing I started. It was the kind of the fountain that started everything else.
Yeah.
The first thing to take off, that still requires a terrible amount of time. So that plate has never been stable. It's less about it being stable. It's more about, do I have the time in the week to do this second thing? And if I do, then let's do it.
And you took a step back from YouTube for a bit. Is that true? Like you kind of like Stream Beats was kind of doing really well, and you're like, do you like shift gears into putting resources into something else?
So we are working on shifts. Sam again, my editor from the UK, he's been kind of the face of a couple videos recently. And I had him doing every other one for a couple of weeks so I could step back and work on growing the business, focusing on some big Stream Beats projects that we're doing right now, and some of the other things, and also trying to start the Harris Heller YouTube channel, which has just been this little fetus for a while. I haven't posted a video in like 3 months. We don't need to talk about that, but yeah, no, I'm always trying to get these things spinning, these plates spinning on their own, and the Alpha Gaming channel is the hardest one.
Well, I was just gonna say, it actually kind of leads me to my next thing, is which one is like really just like quicksand? Like what's the one that's easily
absolutely. I mean, the audience is there for. I'm the face of the channel. They're there for me. But also it is why everything else is successful. Like Stream Beats blew up so fast because streamers trusted me already. And I had the audience. I had the number 1 streaming channel on the internet. And so like, hey, here's this problem. I brought you a solution. They all started using it. We get I think we get like 200,000 monthly users on Stream Beats.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's bonkers. That's number. Amazing. I never thought that would happen, but it happens because of the Alpha Gaming channel. So it's like I can't drop that plate. It is the fountain of everything else. So I can't. So I get sucked back into that real fast.
And just so listeners know, we obviously would love you to go check out everything Harris does. And Alpha Gaming is an awesome channel, but he does a lot of like tutorial stuff and behind the scenes stuff, and like 50 what was it, one of the videos, 50 tips in 10 minutes.
That was one of the first ones that blew up. Yeah.
I was like,
3 years ago.
That is, just reading that, I was like, I'm going to watch that. That's going to happen. I want to know.
I should do another one of those.
50 tips.
Yeah.
Be right back. I'm going to.
So it's a lot of that stuff, right? And then on the Harris Heller one, like I saw you had one was like a skill acquisition. You did something for a month and you wanted to show how you improved. That stuff speaks. I love that stuff. That
was a fun one. I want to do more of those.
So I guess what I would love to know is, this Mr. Beast is probably become the standard for doing trying to go huge with this stuff, or like I can only imagine how hard it is to come up with original stuff all the time. And it seems like you have a pretty wide array of things too. So is there like a project that you planned and you're like, all right, I can do this. It'll take this much time. It shouldn't be blah, 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 blah. Like you kind of mapped it out a little bit and then you went to do it and it was way harder or took way longer? Or do you have any of those situations where you're like, this was way more work and money than I thought it would be?
Yeah. Actually, it was the Alpha Gaming channel.
Starting to notice the trend here.
Nobody knows this because they don't start subscribing until it was a big channel. But I made videos on that channel for 4 years before anybody started watching anything. And a lot of people don't know this. It's called Alpha Gaming because it was originally supposed to be an org. Like I actually signed a Halo team.
Wow.
We rented a house for a summer. And I got an investor.
What?
This investor, by the way, if he hadn't backed out, so this is the
damn it, Drake,
the forbidden story of the Alpha Gaming channel. About a year and a half before the channel took off, it may have been like 2 years. I got an investor who invested like $30,000 into the channel for 30% of the channel. So if he hadn't backed out, he'd have a good chunk right there. I'm really actually happy. It's funny how it turns out for the best, but and I mapped everything out. Like, okay, I've got these Halo players that are also great personalities. I think they'd make good content creators. We've got this house lined up. We're going to move in there. We're going to move this whole group streaming. I was one of the first ones to do like multiple capture card streams. And we had like 4 of us playing Halo and like switching back and forth between perspectives. We went to tournaments down in Vegas. And then the moment we moved in the house, the 2 guys are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And like we'd go and like talk to the investor, be like, Harris is screwing everything up. And because they didn't realize they'd have to work. They wanted out. They just wanted to play Halo. That's all they wanted to do is play Halo. And they pieced out. And I got an email from the investor one day. He's like, I'm out. I need all this stuff back. Pay me everything left in the account. It was a giant, dude. It was one of the most stressful summers of my life. And I remember leaving that feeling like an complete failure.
Yeah.
Like this was my chance. I got an investor. I got $30K and I blew it. This is never going to happen. And so I took the YouTube channel and I just started making tutorial stuff on the side after that. Just like, hey, maybe I think there might still be an avenue over here. Let me just keep trying anyway. Because that's the kicker. Almost everyone's going to fail really hard before it takes off. You're going to have a handful of failures before it takes off. It's the people who keep going anyway. Because it was like, I was broken after that. Like I was devastated. And I also felt terrible. Like, okay, sorry, I lost you 20,000 of the $30,000. It's just gone. Sorry.
Oh no.
And so my integrity was shot from that. Like I felt like I not only failed myself, I failed this guy who was a nice guy, and I failed him. And just literally, I didn't want to try anything anymore after that. But I kept going with the channel and turned it into a tutorial channel. And then I had one video take off 3 years ago. And so this isn't like me on like a stage, like, here's the advice for all the business people down there. But like, be okay with failure. It doesn't change your potential at all. Everyone's going to have them. It's not about who gets it right the first time. It's about who keeps going when they get it wrong.
Damn.
So that and Vine, those two things are major. Sounds like a lot of obstacles. Picking yourself up, learn from it, and getting going again. And it sounds like since then, like when you went with when you went with the Alpha Gaming channel, and correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, but that like the things you pursued at that point, you're like, all right, I'm going to put in a lot of sweat equity, going to put in my time, and so that way, if things don't fail, that's what I'm losing, and I'm not, because I'm very similar in that way. Like I'm always hesitant to take on anyone who's putting any sort of money in that doesn't have the excitement or the passion that I have, because being beholden at all, like even if it's just even if they're like, it's fine, man, lose all the money, but like you're like, I'm still not okay with it, even if you're okay with it, right? And then you kind of get to where, okay, yeah, I'll lose time, effort, maybe sweat equity, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, like failure is going to help me learn. I know this is another Gary Vee-ism, but he doesn't make up everything. All right. Gary Vee got it from me, by the way. Exactly. What you're learning, the things you learn are extremely valuable as well. Like just, I do it every day for my day job. It's just like you get your face beaten all the time. You got to make adjustments in order to hang around. It's just the way that life is. So, you actually recently came out with that video. What was it when everyone's income on Twitch got leaked, and you were giving an example of like what percentage of people are making the average median income. I want to speak a little bit about like you had a point you were making. There was for those of you who are not familiar, there was the Twitch incomes got leaked, and so there was a list from people. It was a 2 year and 2 months, so 26-month leak of total income sent out over those 26 months. So basically 2 years, and it ranked them from top to bottom. So you can see like, what was it? Critical Role was at the top with like $9 million paid out by Twitch. Yep. XQC was at like 3 million or something. Anyway, and then it just ranked them. There was a number next to it. And so it ranked you based on your income over the last 2 years. And it showed everyone how much that person made. And if you went to the median American income, which is $31,000 a year, which is a 40-hour work week, $15 an hour. That is the median income right now in America. I think you only got down to, of the 9 million monthly streamers, you only got down to number, I think it was 3,500. And below that number, they were making less than the median American income. So it was like 0.004% of streamers, I think it was, are making above the median American income. Maybe it was 0.04. It's either 0.04, either way, very, very small number.
Yeah.
Of people actually making more than the median income. It's crazy. I kept doing the math, like, okay, well, what about minimum wage? I didn't do this on the short. What about minimum wage? How many people make more than the average minimum wage, which was like $9 or $10 an hour? And still 6,000 people, which was 0.07% or something, like, are making above minimum wage on Twitch. Everyone's like, oh, you just stream, all you do is play video games. Like, no, you have to be exceptional. You have to do something
Mhm.
very right. You have to be very smart, very creative, or very good at the game. Otherwise, you're going to be broke.
And was part of the thing that you would like people to learn from that is just like take this into account and be very clear, like you said, self-awareness before, and then be self-aware of like what your situation is and what role that's going to play, as opposed to being like, oh, I have 25 viewers now, let's go full time.
Yeah. I think
I'm shooting my shot, like you see on Twitch. Like that's just, you don't just drop everything and just do it, because
there are two big takeaways from that, which I should have mentioned in the short, but these are shorts taken from a live stream where I don't have it like planned or anything. But the two takeaways are, one, it's probably not going to happen. And so don't put all your eggs in that basket. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Like when I was building this channel, I had a job outside of it. I was working all day and then filming and editing all night. Like you can't just risk everything right at the beginning, because there's a very small chance it's going to happen. And I'm not saying that to be a downer. I'm just saying that to be a realist. The people who succeed recognize that. And the other thing is, you better be doing something very unique. Like if you're just sitting there playing video games, just like everyone else, you're going to be in the 99.998% of people that are below that number 6,000 or whatever. Like you can't just follow what works. You have to be the one creating what works.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people see even bigger streamers and think, I can do that. But like
do
that, do it. But also they're in a position, like if I'm talking about,
like, that's my response when someone's like, I can do what you do. Okay, then do it.
Then do it. Yeah, exactly.
They never do.
Well, and I'm watching, people like Tim the Tap Man. I'm kidding. I don't watch him. But
oh my gosh.
if I were,
I watch you, Tim.
Friend of the pod, Tim the Tap Man. If I watch Tim, basically, I mean, he plays COD and gets off. Like, gets on, plays Call of Duty. I mean, he has Just Chatting where he talks to he's a very unique personality, obviously, which helps him through that process. But if I'm like a first-time viewer of Twitch, or like I'm new to the platform, or even if I've been watching for a couple of years, I see that and I think I can do that exact thing. I can get on COD
and you probably
can play.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very easy. And you
can
can talk to your friends on there, and you can have your jokes and everything like that. But that in and of itself is not the recipe for success. That doesn't get you to like where Tim is. I would know. I've been trying to do it for 6 years. So it doesn't work. Like, you can't just do that. So I think the only thing I'll add to what you said, so I think it was very concise, is a level of right place, right time. Like, Tim did a lot of unique things to get to where he is that he doesn't do now, because he can be comfortable doing that stuff. But there are also a lot of people who are right place, right time, had a video get liked by the right person, which then, whatever, like that does happen.
Luck
but
is
it is
always a factor.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh yes, absolutely. And it's not just, I can do that. Then do it.
Anomalies are also a thing. Like there are exceptions to the rule. And people who are just born with some kind of skill that not everyone's born with, like Tim just has a magnetic personality that I don't have that. And that's why I'm not Tim. That's why I have to run like 5 businesses, because I'm not Tim. And that's okay.
And sometimes
that's all right. Yeah.
Sometimes other people are just going to be better at things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And that's cool. And it's all about finding the thing that you like to do. And I think it's also important. Just let me tack this on before we move on to the last little piece I'd like to get. But it's important. We made the case that like hobbies turned into jobs, but it has to start hobby wise anyways. So what I'm hearing from Harris, and I try to apply this to myself, and Paul does as well, the things that we're doing and the multiple things outside of just like this pod or just the stream, we like it. Like, it's fun. It's things that are interesting to us. That's where it started. So like, if you're like, I like playing games, and that's all you want to do, and you would like to just share that with some people, then just know that the ceiling for that is not as high, not very high. Yeah. And if you want then the ceiling to be higher, and you want it to eventually become the job, then you're going to have to start going outside of that box that you're in and doing other things, and maybe pointing yourself in directions, things that interest you. Like, I'm interested in this vein of things, and then just seeing where it goes, because in a year you could be in say it's music, for example. I don't want to speak for you, Harris, but like, I assume that you like to make music and play music and like, but then it became, you're like, maybe if I did the Stream Safe label where I'm not making all the music, maybe that's not where you originally thought it was going to be, but that's where you are now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it has to go.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's people are afraid of trying new things. And I think one of the biggest strengths I had is I was raised by parents who I was like, hey, I want to learn karate lessons. Hey, I want to learn art lessons. I took trampoline lessons, dude. I took only one lesson. I took a cheerleading lesson once. Like the tumbling, like lifting the girls. Yeah. I didn't have any muscle mass, so I took one.
I was gonna say,
one lesson.
Those dudes are jacked.
I know, and I was not. And so I only took one class. Also, I tried to lift the girl and I accidentally farted and I could not show my face. I couldn't show my face there anymore. I left and never came back. But like, I was encouraged to try. I took trumpet lessons. I took piano lessons. Literally, name a lesson. I took it growing up. And so I grew up with this mindset of try anything, try everything. Like, I'm taking Japanese lessons right now because I'm interested in it and I feel like it'll be a strength in the gaming industry. And it doesn't, like, trying new things just freaks people out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of it. If you want to do this, that's going to be a main
tickle your interests, people.
Exactly.
Tickle your interests.
If you don't like to do new stuff and you want to grow a stream, probably not very compatible, but there might be something else that you could do. I don't know. That's probably not this.
I imagined you asking your parents to do all those different things. I took trombone lessons, farted, never went back. I did gymnastics, farted, never went back. I did karate, farted, never went back.
Yeah.
It started out Alpha Gaming, farted, edited it out, continued, and here we are.
Oh yeah,
no,
rented the house with those Halo players.
To YouTube where farts get views. That must have been it.
Those two guys left.
I've never made that connection before.
Harris rips ass all the time in the house. We got to get out of here.
We don't want to do this
I want my 30,000 back.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard you're smelly. Give me my money. Thank you.
Yeah. Well. Speaking of that, I woke up this morning to a dog covered in poop. So that was
that's the best.
I did smell this morning. Yeah, I had to go get him washed at 8 a.m.
Oh no, was he in his like crate?
Yeah, he's in his crate. Turns out before I put him to bed last night, he stepped in his fresh poop outside, and I didn't notice.
Oh no, it's the worst.
So
yeah, it was a bad morning
too.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny. My dog is terrified of his own poop. But like, if he experiences someone else's poop, loves it.
Eats it?
Huge fan.
Eats it. Goose poop, delicacy. Loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get enough. His own poop, get it away from me.
It's just efficient. If you can get nutrients out of that, like, it's a win all around.
There's probably iron in there or something. That's fair.
Anyway, what was the other thing? Let's get back. You said
moving on from poop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Trevor.
So back on September 2nd, you tweeted, streaming 2 years from now will look nothing like it does today. I'm ready for a shakeup. So, what does the future of live streaming look like to you?
Live streaming has always been the kid sitting at his own table for the most part. Like, you got like at the cool table, lunch table at school, you got like YouTubers and TikTok and Instagram, and like they're all this amoeba like mixed into one. Amoeba is not the right word. Nebula was what I was looking for. And then you got streamers that are just like, you got the top streamer in the world, XQC, doesn't do anything other than Twitch. Mm-hmm. And so it's this really like the redheaded stepchild. Are you allowed to say that anymore?
Yeah.
Okay. Sitting at the corner table. And I really think what we're going to see is more mainstream YouTubers take advantage of live streaming and have it being supplementary content. I think the people who have built a career live streaming are going to continue live streaming full time, but I think we're going to see fewer and fewer people becoming full-time live streamers, and instead YouTubers live streaming once a week, twice a week, or if they're going out doing something really cool, they have IRL streaming setups and they go and they do that. I think it's going to be much more integrated into content. And all the kids right now are sitting at 3 viewers being like, I'm going to be a Twitch streamer one day. I don't think that's going to be a thing anymore. I think they're going to need to be content creators who stream.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And just to make the distinction, and I know that a lot of people listen are going to understand that because we've talked about it a lot, but there's a difference between being live and creating like YouTube videos and stuff, not live, right? And creating content in other ways, curating stuff a little bit more in depth, and then things happening live on stream. That's two different things that literally, it's almost like there's two different muscles you're using, because myself, honestly, my first foray was streaming. I had a YouTube channel and stuff, and with the Fortnite craze and stuff, I got more into posting clips on Instagram and then figuring out how TikTok worked. And then YouTube all kind of became ancillary to the live streaming. But now, and all three of us are in our 30s and only getting older. And I would say that not only your energy to stream for 12 hours isn't there, but like it's just not feasible when the more older you get and the more adult you become and
It's
having
also
kids and all that
have.
stuff.
It's very inefficient.
It's very inefficient, extremely inefficient.
Once those 12 hours are done, those 12 hours are gone. Nobody's going to watch that content at all anymore versus you could spend 12 hours on a YouTube video that gets watched forever.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah,
the
that's true.
amount of engagement and viewership you get per hour live streaming is just a fraction of what you get by making evergreen content. It's insane. It needs to be, it's going to grow to be supplementary because it's just this bubble that's in the middle of popping right now. It's not going to last.
And I think you're totally right. It's almost like figuring out this is the best type of content to learn live because I need live feedback or I need people to feed me questions or I need like it's an AMA situation or any of those things. Like those are the best situations. Or you're doing a live event where people need to react to it live and that's fun. But like other than that, if you're just getting on and like, hey, we're going to play the story game. I mean, a little bit of curation and editing can make that even more
You got a
entertaining.
free day, go for it, grab some clips out of it. But like, if there's not a specific reason for it, it's just a giant waste of time.
Hear
So,
that, Paul?
okay, so that's my my question then would be in your view, it would be more beneficial to stream for 4 hours or less and turn that into a YouTube video than it would be to stream for 12 and get clips out of that video or out of that stream.
I'm building a stream room downstairs right now. Like one of the rooms in Senpai HQ is just my stream and my content room.
Yeah.
And I will have my main channel where I make like really cool, I took a Japanese lesson for 30 days, stuff like that where I put serious time into it. I'm also starting a second channel that's just entirely created from my live stream. And I'll go live probably 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Whether I'm playing GeoGuessr or like I've ordered a bunch of, like a lot of YouTube content could be done live. Like maybe I'm ordering a bunch of cosplay from wish.com and it's just terrible. And I'm trying it on during a live stream. And then I have my editor grab that live stream and cut it up. And we throw it on this second YouTube channel. Stuff that's a little bit less curated, stuff that's just like it happened live. So go and after you watch it, if it's interesting, go also watch the live stream because there is a level of engagement you can't get from non-live stuff. Like it has its advantage, but it needs to be only part of the equation. So I'm literally creating an entire stream set built around how can I turn my live streams into short form content, into long form content. Maybe I do a podcast and we cut that up and we have a clips channel and we have a shorts channel and like, how do I maximize this live stream so I'm not just going live and then turning it off?
Cypher PK, he does that better than anyone I've ever seen.
Ludwig does it really good too.
Ludwig does it too, where literally they're live and they go, and we're recording a video, and then everyone there
and
knows,
they do an intro while they're live,
but they know.
And the chat goes crazy because they're like, our chat's going to be on the video. So like, hi YouTube, hi YouTube.
That's like the incentive.
Ludwig
does that really good too. It's genius and it's big. And he's like, see, you guys are on live TV.
That's what live streaming is going to be in a couple of years. That's going to be the majority of live streaming content.
It takes a lot more creativity to do that.
It does.
Like you can't just hit live and do whatever.
That's like I got to go live after this, and I'm like, okay, what's the title going to be? What am I going to talk about? I don't have anything planned. I hired a brand manager to work on like the stream beats and the Senpai Gaming TikToks or and Twitter accounts and stuff. And once I get that room done, part of his plan is going to be planning out things to do on the live stream that I can cut into content for my second YouTube channel. And so it just, you have to plan it. It does become more difficult, but that's just the bar is always being raised as a content creator. Yeah. It's never going backwards. It's always going forwards.
Damn. Yeah. Consider that before you even get involved in the profession, I guess. Like, are you willing to make those sacrifices? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to be creative and do those things? Sometimes it comes naturally. Other times people are just like, I like playing COD and I want to stream it live. Like,
that's fine.
And if you don't start doing this until it's the mainstream 2 years from now, it's too late.
Yeah.
You need to be making content based on what you think it's going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years.
Smart.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
I'm freaking
God, I love
motivated
it so
as
much.
heck right now.
No, it's so funny because I know some people are gonna be like, ugh, when they hear this, but at me, I'm like, yes.
That's how you
Finish
know
the
if
pod
this
so I
is
can
the
get to
job for
work.
you. Does this excite you or does it just drain you?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
whatever, either way, guys, everything, like all of the options here are fine. Just like, it's just about what you want. And we're just trying to give context on how that can look and what you need to do. Like to get there, to achieve the goal. Whatever your goal is, there's a path. Just know what obstacles might exist. Because if you have a little bit of an idea before you start, you might have a better chance of achieving it. So, that's all we're trying to do here. Even though sometimes we're like, hey, beware. It sounds like we're doing that. But it's just
really all I'm
realism.
trying to do is get as few people to start making content as possible. So then it's all the viewers are saved for me.
It's a long con. It's the long-term plan.
I've been
Exactly.
accused of that on TikTok, by the way. That one TikTok talking about income, people are like, he's just trying to get people to quit streaming so he can get all the viewers for himself.
There's
I
a lot
mean,
of those
it's a
side
genius.
benefit, okay?
More
if
for
it's
me.
a byproduct, it is what it is. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I mean? The points still stand, so you can't poke holes. There you go.
Yeah, get over it.
Exactly. Facts are facts.
Unfortunately, we're about out of time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could talk
This
to you
flew.
for
Well, that's good.
hours and hours and hours, and we'd love to, and we used to do that. And then we realized that maybe 2.5 hour podcasts were a little bit on the long side because that's longer than most James Cameron movies. So
It's very
and
true.
That's not a great situation. But we would love for everyone to go check you out. It's Harris Heller on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, at Harris Heller, obviously, and the YouTube channel Alpha Gaming, spelled exactly the way Alpha spelled, correct?
Which is actually, as soon as we finish Senpai HQ downstairs, we are rebranding it to Senpai Gaming.
Okay,
Oh,
it's going to be
snap.
Senpai
It's going to
Gaming,
be renamed
which is
Senpai
also
Gaming.
the name of your label. Senpai.
Yes, everything is Senpai.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
So Senpai.
Yeah.
Spelt the same. No crazy spelling. Spelt the way that you know how to spell it. Wonderful. Go
Which
check
is
them
how,
out.
Trevor?
SN
SN.
SENPAI.
There you go. My man.
I knew he
Got it.
didn't
Crushed it.
spelled
as I
however
always
you
did.
spell it.
I won a spelling bee once. All right. I was really smart in high school 15 years ago.
Same. Yeah, I remember
I need
that.
you to-
I remember when I was smart.
I need you to respect me.
I remember when I was taking calculus.
Oh God, don't take me back. But before we go, what's next for you? Do you got events, merch, music, charity, music video? That's something. Do you have anything that's not NDA that you can talk about?
Baby. Baby is next.
Baby.
Okay, so
Baby
we're
is
just trying to
all-
get to baby day.
Baby is all I'm allowed to
And
think about
adjust.
right now.
That's very smart. Very
Really
correct
fair.
answer. I love it.
But we just did like a Christmas Stream Beats album.
Ooh.
We got some
Ooh.
fun Christmas stuff coming this year. We've only leaked. Okay, you know what? All right, you want a little exclusive here.
Yes.
We only leaked the launch that's coming November 1st, but we got like 3 Christmas launches coming this year.
Oh, 3?
They're fun.
Heard it
Yeah,
here first,
we got a
folks.
lot of music releasing in
Oh my
November.
gosh. 5,000 songs each? Damn, Harris.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
5,000 songs.
That's
My producer doesn't work until he gets tired. He works after he gets tired.
wait.
He probably has that poster up on his wall, and it's just
Yeah.
Harris. Thumbs up.
That was the quote we were talking about earlier that I said you say to an employee it's super toxic. That's
Oh.
only for the business owner. But no,
Yeah.
not my producer. He has to produce 5,000 songs.
I love it. I love it so
Christmas
much.
time, baby.
Yeah.
Well,
Yikes.
that takes us to the end, guys. We are at the finish line. This has been the May Contain Action podcast. You can listen to the full episodes on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and watch the highlights from the show on our YouTube channel that is May Contain Action on YouTube. I'm Trevor May. It's been Paul and Harris Heller. We will see you next time on the pod. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me on.